boy who was abducted from Gampola returned home safely today, thanks to the swift action of law enforcement. Well, we have a detailed report of this saga in the bulletin. A very good evening. This is the weekend edition of Primetime News. Well, we are coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Zola Outskun. First, a look at the headlines. Prime Minister issues a caution to the trade unions. Government and opposition exchange views regarding the strike action. TPG pulls out of Sri Lankan Airlines acquisition talks. World Bank advises Sri Lanka to boost its revenue. First up in news from the President's diary this evening. President Maithripala Sirisena presided over the 33rd Chief Ministers Conference in Habarana today.
අවුරුදු 29ක පළාත් සභා ඉතිහාසයේ පිළිබඳව මේ රටේ දේශපාලකයන්ට
Politicians, state officials and the general public are well aware of the 29-year experience of the provincial councils. When the provincial councils and the central government are operating, there are clashes of opinions. There are constitutional issues and legal issues. I am aware that certain aspects such as recruitment and employee benefits are different across the 9 provinces. We are a small country, but it will be easy for all of us if the 9 provincial councils operate in an equal manner. The best example is the Meetaramulla disaster. We can understand where we stand when it comes to the use of power. The situation led to institutional tussles between the ministry and the provincial council. There were many reasons for that. We reached an accord to fulfill our duties and responsibilities. We need to primarily understand whether we are going to fulfill our duties and responsibilities or are we going to engage in a power struggle.
අපේ වගකීම සහ යුතුයකම් ඉටු කරන්නට අපි එකඟත්වයක් ඇති කර ගන්නවාද එහෙම නැත්නම් ගැටුම් ඇති කර ගන්නවාද ප්‍රශ්න හදා ගන්නවාද බලය සඳහා අපි බල අරගලයක යෙදෙනවාද කියන කාරණාව මූලික වශයෙන් අපි තේරුම් ගැනීම ඉතා වැදගත් වෙනවා.
The Chief Minister of the North-Western Province was made the chair for the next Chief Ministers Summit. The President also declared open the walking path and recreation park built adjacent to the Nuwara in Anuradhapura. The President thereafter engaged in a cordial discussion with school students. President Maithripala Sirisena extended his best wishes to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the occasion of India successfully launching a new communication satellite which can be utilized by the member countries of SAARC including Sri Lanka. The South Asia satellite is a geosynchronous communications and meteorology satellite by the Indian Space Research Organisation for the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation region. The satellite was built at a cost of 4.5 billion rupees.
A period chanting ceremony was held last evening at the Mihintale Sacred Grounds to invoke blessings on the Sirasa John Kills International Vesak Zone.
The all-night period chanting ceremony was organized by Lanka Private Limited prior to transporting the sacred Sarvajan relics of the Mihintale Rajamahaviharaya to the Sirasa John Kills International Vesak Zone. The relics of Lord Buddha's disciples, Sariputta and Mogallana, placed at the Mahabodhi Society of Sri Lanka, will also be moved to the Mihintale Rajamahaviharaya, and all relics, including relics of the Mihidu Maharahat, will leave the Vihara tomorrow for the Sirasa John Kills International Vesak Zone in Colombo.
Relics from various parts of the country will be brought to the Sirasa International Vesak Zone. This has been organized for the 7th consecutive time. The relics will be taken to Mihintale today and it will be transported to the Sirasa Vesak Zone tomorrow. Accordingly, the relics will be brought under the care of the Maharaja organization with the guidance of the Mahabodhi Society.
Meanwhile, the Sarvajan relics and relics of Great Arahat Theras at the Nelligala International Buddhist Center will be arriving at the Vesak Zone in a procession.
The sacred relics at the Nelligala International Buddhist Center will be leaving the Sugandha chambers of the Nelligala International Buddhist Center tomorrow, along with the relics of 18 Maha-Arhats. Accordingly, a Dharma Deshana will be held at the Nelligala International Buddhist Center to invoke the blessings of the Triple Gem on the Vesak Zone and the entire country.
The Sirasa John Kills Vesak Zone will be open to the public on Vesak Poya Day and will remain open till the evening of the 12th of May for devotees to pay homage to the sacred relics.
Well, that was the joyful moment when the 2.5-year-old boy from Gampula who was abducted was rescued by police and taken home. The child was rescued unharmed from a house in Karadinaru in Batiklo. Now, police investigations have revealed that the 25-year-old relative of the boy who was claimed that he was also abducted had orchestrated the abduction.
Mohammed Salman, a resident of Gangawat Road in Gampula, went missing on Wednesday along with his 25-year-old uncle Mohammed Azam. The duo were reported missing after they had left home for the shop of the child's father located close by. It was later revealed that they had been abducted when relatives received a ransom call demanding 3 million rupees, which was later brought down to 1 million rupees. Several police teams investigated the abduction and managed to locate the youth who was allegedly abducted with the child in Kandy yesterday. He was immediately arrested and interrogated. Thereafter, the location where the child was being held had been revealed to the police. According to the police, the youth had sought the support of another group to orchestrate the kidnapping to demand a ransom. Police have arrested the woman of the house where the child was held and her daughter, while investigations are underway to locate the other suspects.
People of all races have been helping us since the day of the abduction. People have been holding Bodhi Pujas while others have been praying. We are thankful to all of them. We request the people not to carry out crimes like this. Be informed and safeguard the children.
අපිට මුළු පොළොටම අපි ලොකු සංදේශයක් අපිට මේ ලොකු මේ මෙවක කම්මුණා වගේ නිදාගෙන කම්මුණා එකේ වගේ අපිට ලොකු සතුටක් සන්තෝෂයි.
In Crime Watch, a drive-by shooting in Ahangama this morning left one person dead. The police said that 2 gunmen in a motorbike had opened fire at a person travelling in a 3-wheeler and fled.
Gunmen clad in full-face helmets opened fire at the victim when he was taking his children for an extra class. The victim was identified as 42-year-old Sudat Priyanta from Andungoda Dikkumura. Police have cast their suspicions on a long-standing dispute between 2 factions to be the motive of the murder. According to the police, an image of Manoj Mendis, the former chairman of the Ratkama Pradesh Sabha, who was killed on the 23rd of March 2015, was tattooed on the victim's body. The victim at one point had served as the driver to late Manoj Mendis. Following Mendis' death, the victim has moved away from the Ratkama area. An individual known as Janit Madhushanka De Silva alias Podilasi is currently in remand custody for the murder of Manoj Mendis and another triple homicide. According to the police, as a result of the dispute between the 2 factions, numerous crimes have been reported over the years. On the 9th of November 2008, Podilasi's wife and father Vasanta Shanta De Silva was shot dead in Telvatta. Before a week passed, on the 16th of November 2008, a confidant of then Ratkama Pradesh Sabha chairman, a businessman by the name of Tarinda De Silva, was shot in Alutwala. On the 10th of October 2011, another associate of the former chairman, known as Janit Nishanta, was shot at the very location where Podilasi's father was gunned down. Janit Nishanta was injured in the shooting and the police filed a case with the Balapitiya Magistrates Court over the matter. It was in this backdrop that Manoj Mendis was shot dead in 2015. According to police, the gang war has so far claimed 5 lives.
And on to a headline that made it to the news this evening. Minister Kabir Hashim says US private equity firm TPG or Texas Pacific Group has pulled out of talks regarding the potential acquisition of Sri Lankan Airlines.
On the 26th of April last year, cabinet approval was given for Sri Lankan Airlines and Lanka to amalgamate with a private entity. TPG, Sri Lanka-based Peace Air and a Maldivian-based supergroup had been shortlisted from the bids that were presented. TPG was selected by the government of Sri Lanka and they were given the opportunity to conduct due diligence.
Until last week, the Texas Pacific Group were involved in due diligence activities. They were interested in the acquisition of Sri Lankan Airlines. Though I was not officially informed, I received word from the chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines yesterday that TPG has pulled out of talks over the acquisition and did not wish to continue with the process. It is unclear whether they are officially withdrawing from the process. However, they have sent a message to the chairman of Sri Lankan Airlines. During this process, several other interested parties have put forward their interests, but we did not have a process to retain them. Because TPG was selected, we did not consider the other submissions. If TPG is not interested, we will have to speak with the other bidders.
ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් දැන් අපි අනෙකුත් ආයෝජකයන් එක්ක අපිට කතා කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා.
එක අමතිවරයෙක් කියනවා ජාතික ගුවන් සේවය වල දාන්න ඕනේ කියලා.
One minister says that Sri Lankan Airlines must be buried. Another says that the national carrier is not worth at all. In the meantime, advertisements were published inviting investors. These contradicting statements had an impact on this. We, as the Sri Lankan Airlines branch of the Sri Lanka Nidahas Sevaka Sangamaya, are not against the attempts made to bring an investor for the national carrier. This can be converted into a profit-making venture through proper state management. Unfortunately, previous governments had no idea of proper state management at all. What we say is this: do not limit yourself to political decisions. Understand the national duty and national needs, and thereby prepare to manage the national carrier.
The World Bank's Vice President for Equitable Growth, Finance and Institutions, Jan Walliser, visited Sri Lanka this week on a two-day official visit. Now, during his stay, he spoke to Newsfirst Krishan Devasagayam on the current economic situation in the country, including the tax reforms being implemented at present.
If you look at the fiscal situation that the country faced, it was a very difficult one with a tax to GDP ratio of only 10%, so it was absolutely necessary to create maneuvering space for the government. Now what's important though is not only how revenues are being raised and to raise them, but also how are they being spent. So one of the important aspects is to link this type of tax reform and the increase in revenue with a focused policy that either spends some of, direct some of the spending to the poorest, that would be a targeted spending, or second, to make sure that the investments that are being undertaken prioritize investments that are truly creating jobs and employment, and therefore help those who are currently at the lower end of the income spectrum through government investment in infrastructure and supporting investment for new foreign or domestic investors as they enhance their economic activity.
Now, as we all know, a right to information law is currently being implemented in the country, and this is being considered as a landmark legislative. Why is such a law necessary for Sri Lanka, and how would it contribute to the Sri Lankan people?
Well, I think this is really something that grew out of the demands of the population that wanted the government to be more open and give more access to information. When citizens feel that what they are being asked to contribute, say, be it through taxes or if there are economic changes that are being made, when at the same time the government opens up and shares information at the request of citizens and has a clear framework for it, it enhances the cohesiveness and the support for these type of reform processes, and it gives a stronger overall framework for economic policy making and for governance and for this environment in which government
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe met with UMP activists in the Badula town today.
Attention had been drawn towards the development activities of the district as well as investment projects that are to be carried out in the area at this meeting. The Prime Minister said that the meeting was held to obtain the ideas of the people in line with the first anniversary of the government. Public representatives of the UNP in the Badula district also attended the meeting.
The trade unions cannot topple a government that came into power through the mandate of the people. The mandate has been given to carry out those tasks. We are not only objecting the trade unions exerting pressure, we will act strongly against it. If we are sent out, who is there to replace us? Previously, they said that they cannot pay back the debt. We somehow paid back the debt and sorted everything with the IMF. Next year, we have to pay 960 billion rupees that was borrowed by Mahinda Rajapaksa, and those are just rupee loans. He held the election because he cannot pay this 960 billion. If we go tomorrow, who will pay these debts? We are the only people who can do this. $15 billion has to be paid in the next 3 years as debts. We obtained a loan of $150 million at a low price the day before yesterday. They cannot do this. The joint opposition cannot create a government. They do not have the strength. If the mandate was given that government should be allowed to go on, they can produce their ideas at an upcoming election and then the people can decide which is best. The economy is unable to repay the debts. When President Maithripala Sirisena assumed duties, we received a space. We formed the national government. The UMP is at a national standard. The SLFP is at the provincial level. If we do not join, we cannot solve this. Now let's take the power of the local governments. That's all there is to be done. Yesterday, parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayake made a revelation that he had been able to channel the president of the GMOA while a strike was being launched by the trade union. Well, here's a look back at the claim.
I called the Navaloka hospital at 10:39 p.m. yesterday. I took an appointment for this evening. The name of the doctor is Anuruddha Padania, who is the chairperson of the GMOA. 1,000 rupees was taken as doctor's charges and 150 more was taken as VAT. The hospital charges were 500 rupees. A total of 1,925 rupees was deducted from my credit card. He is holding a strike in the morning and he is plucking coconuts in the night. He is with Mahinda Rajapaksa in the morning and in the night he is plucking coconuts. The innocent people are affected by this.
The Deputy Minister received a phone call during the media briefing.
Hello.
Hello.
Kauda?
Hello, sir. Navaloka hospital again.
Oh, मैं रंजन रामनायक कथा करने.
Oh, sir. Dr. Padani ada channel එකට එන්නේ නැහැ sir. ඒක inform කරන්නයි කතා කරේ.
එතුමා channel එකට එන්නේ නැද්ද අද?
නෑ sir.
ඉතින් මගේ මේ සල්ලි අරන් තියෙනවනේ.
ඔව් දිනයකට වෙන දිනයකට change කරලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. අවශ්‍ය නම් refund එක ගන්නත් පුළුවන්.
This is the normal method. It is just that leaders in this country like Ranjan Ramanayake don't understand this. Based on the systems at the hospitals, they make appointments for patients to meet us. However, when we inform the hospital that we will not be attending on that day, the hospitals then inform the patients in this regard.
However, the views expressed by members of the GMOA during a media briefing held yesterday contradicted the statement made by Dr. Anuruddha Padania.
The chairman is not engaging in the strike action because he is at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital. The doctor usually treats children's mental health. The MP who has obtained an appointment with this doctor should have sought a doctor that treats adults' mental health. An MP can't be a child, so his appointment is wrong. He has gone to the wrong place.
We don't hold our private practice well in advance because then the government will know when we will be holding the strike action. So we intentionally delay making this announcement.
Even though Dr. Nalinda Herath expressed these views yesterday on the 2nd of this month, he expressed these views during a media briefing.
We want to fearlessly state that we are not afraid of the actions of the ministers. On the 5th, 21 trade unions will join us in a strike action.
I have the receipt. I made this booking on the 4th of this month at 10:30 p.m. using my credit card. It clearly states that the appointment time is 4:05 p.m. This is not a scam. I am ready for any debate. There are plenty of honorable doctors who spoke to me over the phone and said that because of the political needs of the head of the GMOA, doctors were turned away from petrol sheds. Doctors cannot go on the streets today because they are acting with political motivations. All this is because of one person. I respect his intelligence and experience. He is a good doctor, but however smart he is, he worked with the former president back then and he is continuing his work now. Everyone knows this.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa expressed the following views at an event held in Mathura yesterday. Minister Sajid Premadasa commented on the strike action held yesterday.
I have a question for the people who engaged in the strike. Saitam began during Mahinda Rajapaksa's regime. If this is such a blow to free education in the country, then why didn't the doctors and teachers protest back then? They didn't have a backbone to rise up against Mahinda Rajapaksa. They didn't make a sound back then because they knew the response would not be democratic. They knew the response would be either from a T-56 or a white van. This is the truth.
උත්තර හම් වෙන්නේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයෙන් යහපාලනයෙන් නෙමෙයි. උත්තර හම් වෙන්නේ කෙලින්ම T56න් සුදු වෑන් එකේ. ඒක තමයි ඇත්ත කතාව.
The foundation stone for the bridge being built across the Kachigallara in Aganukula Palace was laid by Minister Sajid Premadasa today. The project will cost a total of 34.2 million rupees.
Meanwhile, UMP parliamentarian Tushar Indranil expressed the following views at an event in Kalgamur today. A group of students of the medical college came to educate me as well. I asked them why they didn't strike when they commenced the private medical college. They told me that they were intimidated by Gotabaya Rajapaksa. So these medical students and the doctors who did not get onto the road because they were intimidated are getting on the road now. Is it because they are not intimidated by President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe? If Gotabaya was a poisonous snake, are the President and the Prime Minister mere serpents? This is what we have to ask. They use the students who are from the villages and they send them back. The doctors at the hospitals are engaging in strikes. The innocent patients have to turn back without medicine. The rulers who commenced this trash mountain called Saitam are trying to set fire on the country. UMP MP SM Marika also expressed his views on the strike action.
ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය කියලා කියන්නේ අපේ නිදහස භුක්ති විඳින ගමන්
Democracy does not mean reaping the benefits of freedom and acting in a manner which obstructs others. There is a mafia behind this wave of protest. They are misusing the freedom that has been given because there is no longer white vans. There are no longer indiscriminate killings or acts of torture. They are crippling the economy, destroying the nature and wasting the valuable time and money of the general public. I call on the doctors, if you really care for the people, why strike at government hospitals where the poor people of this country come to obtain medicine? Why not strike at private hospitals which caters to the wealthy class?
තමනාව හම්බෙන සල්ලිකාරෝ යන පෞද්ගලික ස්පිරිතාලවල මේ වර්ජනය කරන්නකෝ පුළුවන් නම්.
The development of the Rajasinghe Mawat in Kolonnawa commenced under the auspices of MP SM Marika today.
Still in local news this evening, a protest was held in the Chenkaladi area today against an alcohol distillery that has been put up in the Khalkuda area in Batiklo.
Burn down! Burn down!
The protest was organized by the area residents of Koduamaru area in Chenkaladi. The protesters demanded that the construction activities of the distillery be stopped. The protesters also demanded that the two journalists who were assaulted in Khalkuda recently be provided justice.
If they build a garment factory instead of a distillery in the Khalkuda area, they can provide job opportunities to the people who are disabled and those who have been widowed by the war. Two journalists were brutally assaulted by the UNP organizer. We condemn this as well. It was decided at the Provincial Development Committee meeting that the ethanol factory will be closed. The Chief Minister, Provincial Ministers, Parliamentarians and Provincial Councillors agreed to close it down at the District Development Committee meeting. If the construction is continuing, even when this has happened, it is evident that the government does not care about what happens at Provincial and District Development Committee meetings. Therefore, there is no requirement to hold Development Committee meetings. We will live and die. We cannot let the future generations become addicted to alcohol. What justice did the journalists who were assaulted receive? Nobody speaks about them. There are so many people to whitewash the ethanol company.
The outgoing High Commissioner of Pakistan has referred to Sri Lanka as one of the best countries that he served in.
In a manifestation of the strong political, diplomatic, economic, cultural and defence ties between the two countries, Pakistan naval ship PNS Zulfikar arrived at the Colombo Naval Dockyard earlier this week. Pakistani Navy ship Zulfikar is the pioneer ship of the Sword class F-22P frigate project. The ship is fitted with the state-of-the-art weapons and sensors and carries a Z-9EC helicopter. A reception was held aboard the vessel with the participation of top brass from the Sri Lanka Navy.
No sooner we were informed that the drought has hit very hard, the case was taken up for providing immediate relief, and in that context 10,000 metric tons of rice were approved by the government of Pakistan for people in government of Sri Lanka. So when you talk of a total package that a human being looks for, this is one of the best countries, and by virtue of its location, there is nothing else but to rise for this country. It will rise because it's the hub center of the Indian Ocean, and that's the focus of the world today.
A reception was held this morning in Colombo to bid farewell to retired Major General Syed Shakil Hussain, who completed his 2-year tenure in Sri Lanka. The event was graced by diplomats, Sri Lankan politicians and well-wishers.
On that note, we wrap up this edition of Weekend Primetime News. Thank you very much for stopping by. It was a pleasure to have you with us this evening. More news follows on our website, www.newsfirst.lk. For the News1st team, I'm Joel Outspoon. Have yourself a great evening ahead. Take care. God bless you.